The Avalaunch transmission starts now.
Oh, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
Good, good. Firestorm, more JPEGs. How you doing?
We are doing
Good. How are
excellent,
you?
man.
Good. So we'll just kind of give people a second to get in here. But as we're waiting, we kind of like set things up here. So we had announced this live stream earlier today, I think, and the purpose of it is to cover all things Snail Trail, but specifically the mint that's going on, and there's some things that are unique and special here for the Avalaunch community, and I want to be able to cover those. And I also want to be able to go over, why the mint matters, and what it is, and why someone would want to participate, and helping understand its place in the broader context of the roadmap in the game. And I think we can have a great conversation about that. But before we go into it, let's just give everyone an opportunity to meet you guys. So Firestorm, if you want to start, please just let everyone know who you are and what your role is with SnailTrail.
Absolutely. So first of all, Mark, as always, truly appreciated the fact that you again thought of me as valuable enough to, come and like talk to you on one of these streams. Thank you so much. So I'm Firestorm. I have been a Avalanche degen for a long time. I'm one of those guys who have been, around Avalanche pretty much since the beginning. I worked a lot with the dev team early on. I've done some tutorials. I've run nodes, yada yada. I'm a Avalanche maxi for the moment until something there's better. Let's put it that way. And I've been sort of helping projects as really good teams come together and build their projects. I've been helping them sort of as an advisor. With the SnailTrail team, I actually have a special connection. The founders have been gamer friends of mine, right? I played a lot of games with them. Unfortunately, I was usually much worse than them, and they used to yell at me for not playing as well as them, and I used to yell at them for not understanding what Avalanche is and wasting their money not investing in Avalanche. But that's how we got connected, many months ago, many years ago, actually. And I sort of joined the team as an advisor to help out with anything and everything they needed. And I've been with them since end of last year, November, December timeframe, probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I am, and that's sort of how I fit in the picture.
Okay, cool. What about you, more JPEGs?
Hey guys, more JPEGs. Mark, thanks for having us. Thanks for having SnailTrail. It's a pleasure to be here. So I started as kind of one of the typical routes of just traditional finance, and I was doing a lot of marketing for a marketing agency that worked with asset and wealth managers who were raising funds. And I been in crypto around 2017, and I kind of faded in and out until around summer of last year, and that's where I found Avalanche, and I've been kind of engulfed in the whole ecosystem ever since. I've been a huge part of the AVAX Apes community, and then just being really interested in all the projects coming in and out, and of course Avalabs and what they're doing. And I just felt this passion for crypto more than traditional finance and the route I was going down. And I saw SnailTrail and I wanted to be a part of the team. And I reached out, and now we've been doing magic ever since.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So you're actually like a OG Avalanche, so community member that found its way into SnailTrail, a very Avalanche native project.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that stuff. Well, right on. Well, thanks for that. Let's just kind of touch on the project at a high level, but not too high. I want people to understand that maybe don't know about the game. Um, you know, Tell them what it's about, and I want to focus on what makes this game different, what makes it unique, and what are the parts that you guys are most excited about.
JPEGs, I'll let you take this one, and then I'll come in after you. I feel like I've done this a few many times. I think it's better, the audience hear it from other people.
Right. So, SnailTrail is a racing play to earn game on Avalaunch, and what you're doing is you're racing these NFT snails, and they each have their own set of traits: family, class, generation, adaptation, and these are all different traits for your NFT. They kind of contribute to how well your snail will perform in the race. And it's especially cool because you can breed two snails with different traits, and you can kind of target these superior traits that you think will make your snail either perform better or um, do good on different tracks that you like to race on. And I think it's really cool how to add some nice little um, strategy to the game, and you're not just joining races and just kind of gambling in the sense of you just don't know what's going to happen. But with SnailTrail, you kind of have this strategy, you kind of have a plan going into each race, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun with the daily missions where you can kind of join for free and everybody gets a reward from the prize pool. And then you have the competitive races where you're kind of putting up our native token, and it's a little bit of high stakes of racing, and only the top three will be able to win from the prize pool. So it gets a little competitive, but it also has a lot of fun factors to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I kind of can jump in and talk maybe a little bit about the differentiation. I mean, the most important thing to me, and I can't really take credit for that, is the guys actually came up with a very kind of different twists as to racing games, right? First of all, you're racing snails versus the traditional things you would race, whether it's like cars or horses or whatnot, right? Snails you would normally think as slow, but trust me when I say when the game launches, some of these snails are not going to be slow. Okay, number one. So from that perspective, I think and I probably am not I'm not out of place saying these guys have been trying to come up with very interesting and twisty names to things like our token name or our sort of the things that they're baking into the strategy, the mechanics that we have in the laboratory, right? So in that sense, the project is quite cool and unusual, right?
Mhm.
Of course, this is paired with minimal arts, which looks nice, clean, but a little bit weird. So I find that to be a little bit of a differentiator. Now, in terms of mechanics, there are some cool things that I just want to highlight, and I know we've done other streams that talked about this, but number one, there is deflationary mechanisms for the population itself, right? Unlike some of the more popular and larger games out there, you actually can bring together a few snails, take them to our laboratory,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a crazy scientist. You can burn them, and it will actually give you a new and different snail. It will give you a chance to actually get something that's different and potentially better, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I find very interesting. This was one of the ideas that I loved the most,
Yeah.
just because it's very uncommon, right? The second thing is, we have the microwave concepts where you microwave your snails just a little bit so that they get these different adaptations, of course. And then, the coolest piece is, of course, the genetics associated with each snail. We have 20 genes per snail, of course. And I know people may, especially people who haven't listened to the AMAs, etc., or haven't looked at the white paper, may think that 20 genes crossing with another 20 genes could be difficult. Trust me, I have seen the UX. The team is working hard on making those things very user friendly as you're making choices.
Mm-hmm.
One more differentiation, and the last one, and I'll stop talking and I'll let you ask more questions, Mark. Like the cool thing that I like about snails is they're hermaphrodites, right? They have two genders, which means you, as the owner of the snail, can choose to be a male and donate your genes. If you have a very, very good genetic pool, you can donate your genes, earn money. This is one passive mechanism through which you can earn tokens
That's cool.
up to 3 times a month, right? Versus if you actually choose to breed and you lock your gender as female, then you will keep the new snail that gets created. But of course, then you won't get paid for your genetic makeup, right? So in that sense, it's like the game is going to have a lot of strategies. I highly recommend people taking a look at the white paper. Yes, I know there are formulae in there. Don't worry about the formulas. The formulas will be wrapped into nice UI elements that will make you, comfortable understanding stuff. But read about breeding, read about potential strategies, so that you hit the ground running when the game launches. That's kind of how I view this game.
Yeah, yeah, and I would encourage everyone to go check that stuff out. With the breeding mechanics and some of the elements that show up in games somewhat frequently, like the just for me personally, what always at least turns me on or excites me is when people are doing exactly what you're doing, playing with different things, innovating around different kind of strategies, and at the end of the day, allowing a lot of people and minds to stare at this stuff and kind of make their own thing out of it, develop their own strategies, try and optimize. I just think it's an incredibly enduring characteristic of a game. So I always love when I see it in there. I do want to ask a question though about some of the things that you talked about. So what would be the difference between, let's say, the deflation and where you sort of bring two together and destroy some in the process, or just breeding? Like, why would one choose one or the
Sure.
other?
Yeah, I mean, so the deflationary mechanic that we have, that's part of laboratory, is going to require minimum 3 snails. At least
Hmm.
that's the current thinking. So you'll have to bring together 3 snails that you don't want. Like, I'll give you one very simple scenario. And actually, before I give you the scenario, let me talk about like some of the brain power and cycles that go into the game design.
Hmm.
Like, we want a game where, luck is not the only factor that decides who wins and who doesn't, right? This is kind of important for every game, but of course we sort of spent a lot of time, and especially the founders, thinking about how they can combat and also bring in, like, they can combat like luck being too much of a factor, and they can bring in some of the strategies that people will deploy. One of this mechanics is, imagine you're a guy who has 5 snails. 4 of your snails are similar in genetic makeup and similar in performance across the same types of trails.
Hmm.
But we have a lot of trails, we have a lot of distances, and you want to diversify, you want to be able to race on multiple terrains, right?
Yep.
This will actually allow you to bring some of the snails that you think are low performing, burn them, and potentially get a different one. That's
Oh,
one potential scenario it could be. The other thing is, maybe you just don't like your snails, right? There's a lot of people who want to like take their chances and play around with the game. And again, the burn mechanic helps you that way. And additionally, as you know, on these crypto economical systems, deflationary pressures as you burn and as you remove stuff from circulation tend to add value to the remaining supply, especially if the assets are being used, right? So in that sense, we thought this would be something welcomed by the community, and that's why we felt we felt compelled to sort of put it in the game.
yeah, yeah, very cool. So it's like when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? That kind of thing. What
Exactly.
and I just think it's worth talking about since we already kind of covered that. What about the microwave? What are the things to consider there?
JPEG, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. So with the microwave, it's kind of you are um, evolving and you're kind of adapting your snail to make it better in the sense of there's different kind of race conditions on the tracks, and this is like where you can add more adaptations. And your adaptation for a snail, I should probably go over what the adaptation is where your snail can adapt to um, up to 3 different race conditions, which means it will on average perform better on these race conditions. And um, it's sort of with the strategic element where you're looking at a race and you want to kind of match up your adaptation with your with the race conditions. So you don't just blindly join any race. You can see the track and the conditions of the race, and that's kind of like the strategy element there. And when you put your snail in the microwave, which is it's still, it'll never get old to say, you can add an adaptation. You can change your adaptation. Sometimes it will re-roll. And when you breed a snail and it comes out with an offspring, then this adaptation is given to you at random. So you can't really target an adaptation unless you're kind of adding an adaptation potion and throwing it in the microwave and trying to get something superior in the sense of your strategy out of it.
I guess one cool thing I can add, and I'm gonna take a different approach to sort of thinking about it, and I'll just share it. Like if I, for example, run every day, like at the same exact sort of trail that I run at, I will get good at knowing how that trail works, right? Adaptations are kind of like that. If you do something enough many times, there is a chance that you're going to sort of have an adaptation develop, right? And microwave basically gives you the ability to customize your adaptations. In effect, it allows you to have a little bit of a say in your performance on different types of tracks or trails. And again, this is the part where we wanted to bring in the skill. Obviously, we don't want people to use the mouse and keyboard to try and race, because that's gonna be very difficult for a lot of people. But this is where you use your brain, you understand how the game works, and potentially adjust your adaptations for an upcoming race, or an upcoming season, or upcoming league. And that's kind of the piece that we wanted to add to, again, bring the player closer to the race itself.
Yeah. So there's some luck elements, but there's also strategy elements and skill elements to the game.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to balance the two, right? If there's no luck, then the guy who ultimately spends the most time may always win, and we kind of want to prevent that as well. There is a decent percentage of luck involved as well, but we really try to do game balance between input, luck, and all the other things that you're going to have available at your disposal. It's very similar to strategy game balancing. I mean, Shy and Orexer, I can't tell you how many hours they spent on trying to figure out all these different angles. And every time I tried to put holes through their plan, they had already thought about it. So I feel quite, warm and fuzzy about some of these angles. Hopefully we'll see when the game launches, but that's my current sort of take on all these.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, we're here to primarily, at least, talk about the upcoming mint, and there's some interesting things going on there between our community and your community. And I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to come on here and talk about it and help people get excited and understand it. So let's just start with the mint itself. What is it and when is it happening?
Yeah, so the mint is coming up next week. It's a big week. I know a lot of people are excited.
Let's go is all I'm going to say. Let's go, because look, I've been waiting long time for this, and I'm part of the team. Okay, I know you guys are excited. You can't imagine how excited I am. So, anyway, sorry, I apologize. I have to say that. Sorry.
Hey, the excitement can overtake you. I understand. I was also super excited as well, and now I'm even more excited that we're actually kind of just coming up to it in the next week here. And so we have 3 rounds of our mint. The first round is our SnailTrail whitelist, where we had this open for 3 months, and this will be on April 19th. So this is the first round, and we had it open for 3 months. There's 3 tiers to the whitelist. So you can be, obviously, the first ones that registered, they were the early snails. And so they have 6 snail allocations. So they can mint up to 6 snails during this round. And then we have the just-in-time snails. They can mint up to 3 snails in this round. And then we have the lay snails. So they can mint 2 snails in this round. And we did a lot of contests lately, and we've added some late snails to our community here. And I guess I'll drop a little bit of alpha tomorrow will be one of the last chances to get to win a late snail whitelist spot. We're doing a fun contest tomorrow. It's gonna be a little change up from our usual naming snails contest, and then we have on Sunday will be the last chance with our trivia, our SnailTrail trivia in our Discord that we run every Sunday. So that's a little bit of alpha, and then we have the next 2 rounds, which will be on April 20th and April 21st. Well, would you like us to get into the details on the last 2 rounds now, or do you want to go into? Awesome. So the second round is the anti-bot round, and this is our collaboration with you guys, with Avalaunch, where on April 20th, if you have signed up through Avalaunch and you've KYC'd a wallet and you verified that wallet, then you will be on the list to mint during this round. You can mint 1 snail per wallet. And this was kind of, it was always in our in our plan to have one of these rounds where we collaborated with you guys. And originally it was supposed to be that seven-day period between the whitelist and the public round. And our previous schedule was supposed to be so that everybody that did the IDO and signed up, we could have a list there and do it for the public round. And this is just because we really want to emphasize that we don't want any like funny business with bots, any funny business with whales. We want it to be as many as one-to-one, like actual people that want to play the game and be a part of SnailTrail community, because we all know with nowadays people can kind of get into these minting rounds on the public rounds, and they can kind of just mint a whole bunch of snails and leave almost nothing for the actual community that wants to get in and play the game, which can really mess up the game's dynamics. Right. So this was kind of instead of having that IDO and then public round, we wanted to kind of get it to you guys as soon as possible. So we're having this anti-bot round with Avalaunch, and the last day to sign up with Avalaunch and verify a wallet will be this Friday, tomorrow, just so everybody knows. And yeah, that's the anti-bot round. And our public round will be on April 21st, the following day of the anti-bot round. And a lot of people in the Discord are showing some worry that they might not have any snails left to mint during this round. But hey, guys, there's always a secondary market, and you never know. We could get lucky, and we might have some snails to mint in the public round. You never know. So keep your hopes up. And then also just to be clear with everybody that if you do have a whitelist spot in the first round, then you are good to go for the other 2 rounds.
Right on. Yeah, it's very exciting. And if you're just kind of listening or you're hearing this for the first time, there's a post in the Discord, I believe, that I remember seeing that sort of outlines all of this. If you want to kind of have another look at the details, but yeah, they're on the 20th. If you are an Avalaunch user and you've KYC and you have your wallet connected to that KYC, you'll have a chance at the whitelist there. So we encourage everyone to be ahead of the game in that regard. We very much appreciate you guys extending that to our community, and it's it's an awesome thing to be able to do together and be a part of that early story. So with the mint that's going on now, can you like explain how this fits in to the launch of the game and like future mints and future ability to obtain snails? Like, what is this in the broader context of the roadmap and availability of snails?
Yeah, I can kind of jump in for this, and like I can build on some of the things we said in the previous answer. Most importantly, I always go back to the same point. Crypto is extremely adversarial, right? If we didn't take some of these measures to allow regular gamers to mint their own snails, like this could have very well been a problem. It could have very well gone bad, where like big institutions or entities acquiring too many snails and start farming the game too much. Our goal since day one, and our messaging since day one, particularly Cheyenne or Rexler's messaging, has been, we want to have as many individual distinct gamers as possible. We have a very good cap table as a part of this project, like very well-known names, including yourselves, right? And we have had the occasional difficult conversation with our investors, even where they said, "Hey, we want additional snails. How do we get them?" And it's the whitelist. Like if we give you additional snails, then it's not going to be the right thing to do from a community perspective. And once we sort of talked this out with all our investors, everybody actually understood, everybody agreed, and this is how we arrived at this point. So we feel good about the way that the mint is going to go down. Knock on wood, of course. And that's how we're starting now. Secondary mints, we have been asked about this, but quite frankly, we modeled the population and the existing mechanics of how breeding is going to work. And yes, this is a smaller mint versus a competitor on Ethereum like the Zedrun, for example. But we feel comfortable with the number, and we think there's going to be continuous growth. The less the snails for now, I think it's going to allow people who are truly part of our community, who have been following us for a long time, to really enjoy the game. But also it will create value for them in the short term. So that's kind of how we chose this number. I'm not aware of any plans for a secondary mint for the moment, but to be clear, there will be cool and interesting things that we will release as a part of our marketplace, where you may be able to change your snail, for example, and you may be able to mint other types of things that are part of the game. So that's kind of how we look at it from a secondary mint perspective. We will try to be as transparent as possible as the game evolves, of course, but that's kind of where we stand at the moment. JPEG, anything you want to add on here?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Also, I mean, we have a pretty extensive roadmap. I know the guys on the team have been thinking about this long in the future. So everything that's on the roadmap in the white paper, we're going to try to integrate. Timelines may change; it's never ever set in stone. But we're always going to keep the community updated as best as possible. Keep everybody in the loop. Make sure everybody's prepared for what's coming out, and kind of just keep the excitement going as we build on top of this game.
Cool. And what is the size
of the mint? So there's going to be total Genesis snails. There are 7,500.
Okay.
And there's around 6,000 have been whitelisted through us.
Okay. All right. So this is a very special opportunity to get in early and be a part of the community early. And after that, as far as anyone is concerned, the only way to obtain these snails is through the secondary market.
By the way, I kind of want to add something. I apologize, I forgot. We didn't randomly come up with this number, or we didn't come up, we modeled it by looking at some of the gold standards out there. If you're able to build a community organically, you have a good group of people who are very interested in the game, it actually grows pretty fast.
Yeah.
What is the gold standard nowadays, especially in Avalaunch? Kerbala, right? We looked at how their sort of population evolved, how they've approached this, and it's not like we came up with these numbers randomly. We kind of wanted to strike a balance between creating value for people who believed in us, who are early snails, just-in-time snails, or late snails, and the growth of the game as well. The more interesting thing that goes hand in hand with the mint itself is our economical model. We spent a lot of time as a part of the reward structure. Obviously, we haven't shared too much about it, but I can tell you, people that you are seeing as a part of our cap table have had big input into how we should plan, our rewards, how we should reward the people who are with us for that time. and some cool things are going to come there, like our economical incentives and models for getting people excited about the game and getting them to play the game is going to be awesome. That's what I think.
Rad. Yeah. The one thing I know about you and the team is you're very thoughtful, very data driven, and always looking to optimize across the available information. And like we can certainly appreciate that a lot. And so the mint closes, and then when and where are people going to be able to start picking up snails?
So right away, it will be on secondary. You will always be able to mint your sell your snails, trade your snails, because it's not going to be like a reveal or any kind of special thing. Once you mint your snail, you'll have your snail, so you'll have the right to do anything you please with it. You can go on any secondary marketplace, but we do have, it will be on our marketplace. Primarily, we'll have all the snails tradable on our marketplace, and that will be the primary place for people to trade snails, because this is where the basis of all your snails will be, and you'll be able to breed. And then once you breed, you can also trade your snails on the primary marketplace on our website. But then also, we're not going to keep anybody from using any secondary marketplaces, because we believe like it is your snail. It is like you own your snail, so you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, we've built our own internal marketplace. It looks great. It goes alongside with the Gene marketplace, so that's going to be the primary place to kind of trade and have all the sales.
Okay, cool. And for those that don't know, I know you guys shared this in the Discord, but some people may have missed it. So the IDO is coming up this month, and that is what date exactly?
So the IDO, the registration opens the 23rd of April, and then it will start on the 27th and end on the 28th of April.
Right. So it probably makes sense to talk about a little bit about the IDO and what's available there and its place in the SnailTrail universe.
Yeah. So the IDO is kind of it's the opportunity for everybody to get their I mean, we haven't it's funny to call it the native token, because it's still, we haven't released a name for our token, even though it will be a fun surprise. We've got a nice name for it. And yeah, so the IDO will be the chance for everybody to kind of get early in on the action with the native token, and be a part of the ecosystem right away, and just have the ability to use their tokens in the game. And it's always nice to, in my opinion, have a head start. And once you have your snails, once you have your token, then the world is yours in SnailTrail game. You can start racing, you can start competing one-on-one, not one-on-one, but basically with the community, and get your snails ready to go, because it is important to do multiple races and really figure out what kind of is the secret sauce for your snails, because every snail is different. And the kind of, like, the way I see it is, if you're going to kind of drill down into the stats of your snails, you want the most stats available, and that would mean you'll have to race more often than not. And each daily mission race is free to join, but it kind of correlates with our token emission rate. So you will be limited to however many hours to race a snail per day in the daily missions race.
Mhm.
But in the competitive races, you can join as many as you want, as long as you have that native token in your wallet. So if you want to start racing, start getting your snail those stats, so you can start kind of analyzing it and figuring out what's the best place, what's the best map to do it, what's your snail's strength. Then theoretically, you'll need enough of those tokens to kind of get that edge.
So most important thing I want to emphasize, right? This token is everything you do within the game. Anything and everything you're going to do, you're going to need this token. Okay. And I also want to emphasize, and like the community burned us a little bit. Well, like, it's no secret that I'm also part of Dexalot team. Right? I'm an advisor to Dexalot as well. And our token launched, and everybody was like, utility, 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 right? And in this case, there's going to be a lot of utility when this token launches. So, hopefully everybody actually will be happy. Anything and everything you do in the game is going to be sort of powered by this token itself. And just to expand on the timelines that we talked about, the token will launch through Discovery. That's a lot Discovery, right? And then, it's actually going to be available for people to start, playing the game. Very, very sort of connected. We don't want any major gaps between IDO, pricing, listing, and the game, right? The whole reason why the entire sort of plan ended up getting shifted after the team got sick was because, we needed to align all these different pieces so that there is no big gaps. I know there's a lot of projects out there who, do their IDOs sometimes, and then their game launches have space in between. We heard a lot from the community over the last, many months. We don't want to do that. We want to sort of launch the game again, looking at the gold standard. They've done it this way. We kind of want to sort of follow in their steps in this regard as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think everyone's going to be really happy with that. So it leads pretty much right into my next question about at least the near term roadmap. So you essentially started to answer it there. We have the IDO, then we're going to Dexalot Discovery, and then trading will open. And you talked about a short gap. So just how short is that gap?
I mean, you never know. I don't want to commit to very specific dates or anything, but our goal is to launch within a few days, less than a week, let's say, right? The ideal scenario is we finish, we list, we give it a few hours, everything is stable, boom, the game launches. But these things again need alignments. You never know. So what I'm gonna say a few days.
Okay, well, that's pretty darn close. And then beyond that, not to push you guys too much, as if that's not enough, but just to generally speaking, the game launches and where are things headed for the project?
Yeah, absolutely. I can just talk about the ones I'm super excited about, and then obviously JPEG is going to have a little bit more of a complete view than me. So, most importantly, the game is going to launch with races, right? But I mean, our model is a hyper casual game, but think about all these popular games that people play, right? There is seasons, there are tournaments, we may do seasonal, themes, I'm going to say, along with themes, there could be economical incentives, economical changes. The one cool thing about this team, this project is, the game is going to generate a lot of data, and data is very directly going to tell us what our community likes, right? If we see a very specific behavior that our community does, then it will allow us to sort of expand the game in that direction. So while we do have a sort of planned out roadmap, we also have the flexibility to adjust it if necessary. But going into the specifics of some of the big things that's gonna happen shortly after the game is we're gonna launch with races, then we're gonna have the laboratory, and then microwave, as we mentioned. The second, and this thing that particularly the Turkish community asked us a lot about, is the 3D view. Excuse me. Our original launch MVP is the bird's eye view, which you've seen, which of course will be, by the way, it will be streamed on Twitch. We'll have special, voice actors come and cast the races, etc. But then it's not like we're stopping development there. We are going to do a 3D view similar to Axie. We already mentioned tournaments. There's going to be new game modes, right? I think JPEGs may even have mentioned some of the game modes, and then of course our sort of investors, some people that we've engaged with over the course of the last months, have asked us about, will you have solutions and features that will allow people to manage their inventory of snails? Could guilds be part of the sort of community? Could I rent out my snail, etc.? So those are types of things that are all on the roadmap. Renting snails, of course, is important, right? So those are the types of things that we're looking at. One other thing that we got asked, mobile support.
Uh-huh.
That is also part of the discussions. And that is also something we're looking at, because we do recognize a lot of our community is up around, they're like moving around, and they want to be able to access the game efficiently via mobile as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things I can think about. JPEG, I apologize. These are things that I get excited and get carried carried with. So if there's anything I forgot, please add them.
Yeah, you hit a lot of them. You hit a lot of exciting things that we have in store for everybody and SnailTrail. I just wanted to tag on to the last question that the game is, it is set to be launched on May 2nd. So that's just basically directly right after the IDO.
Yep.
And what Firestorm was saying, like it's a really nice approach to go with a data-driven approach, where even like set up before this before the thought of modifying it is that we have these protocol coefficients built into the game. Like even if the game senses, or not senses, but with the formula that if there is an increase in inflation for the NFTs through breeding, then people will find that the price of breeding will go up. So it'll cost more of the native token to start breeding. So it's kind of like a inflationary combat to breeding, which like for the NFTs. So it's kind of built into the game already, where the protocol coefficient and the formula that goes into breeding, if it hits that sweet spot where we don't want to have too many snails bred in a certain period of time, because that will kind of run with the inflation more than ideal,
Mm-hmm.
then the game will actually increase the cost to breed, which will de-incentivize people from kind of contributing to that inflation, and which is like honestly an awesome thing to see that the team has already begun thinking about, having the game kind of mediate itself. But also like things like that, if we see anything other than that of the same sort, like this, we're ready to hop in and kind of just not change any dynamics of the game. Like no mechanics are being changed, but we're also kind of incentivizing, de-incentivizing, like just kind of moderating as we go. And I think one of like the most exciting things that Firestorm mentioned was our Twitch channel, which we're going to have so much fun with, like announcers, events, just high energy races. We're trying to think of ways we can get everybody watching to have like some skin in the game, maybe potential things that can happen with rewards. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like all the tournaments, and maybe we'll have a Triple Crown Derby. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one funny story I have, actually, I think it would be interesting for the people to hear. So one of my teammates' brother-in-law lives in Kentucky, and he has this, very cool accent, and he apparently used to sort of, cast over races. And he was like, dude, I love this game. I want to do like a voiceover of this. And he sent me a sample. Like, there are people out there who's very like interested in the game to like come onto our Twitch stream and potentially cast it. And we are looking at some very cool things to do for our Twitch stream. So, stay tuned. Go check it out when it's live. It's going to be awesome. Like, I'm super
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're very excited about it too. We've been on this road with you guys for a while now, and I think it's just if you kind of step back, it's pretty cool because you have a very strong, thoughtful, sharp, smart native Avalanche team, building something fun and cool and sustainable, with, strong Avalanche backing. And then you have Avalaunch, which is an Avalanche native platform, going to Dexlot, which is an Avalanche native Dex, and right into the game. It just, I don't know. It's I don't know. In a lot of ways, it feels like indicative of where the ecosystem sort of has been and is going. And I think there's a lot of points here that are just very cool and like personally very gratifying for us. And working with you guys has been great. I have a lot of confidence in the team and what you guys are going to go on to achieve. So it's just it's very cool to help you in the ways that we can help you with this. And I think you guys are going to do great.
Absolutely, man. Like, we truly appreciate your words. I almost want to say, we relied on you more than anybody else, you and Dave, of course. Your inputs into, whether it's our tokenomics or whether it's our sort of go-to-market strategy, marketing, etc. Truly appreciated. It's been an honor. Again, I always say, I mean, I'm obviously in love with Avalaunch. So I don't want to make this into a big shilling contest of how awesome you guys are, but it's true, and I think it goes without saying. I know, you guys do so much, and it's never appreciated enough. So just know that we do appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, well, cool, guys. That was awesome. I really appreciate your time here today. I know everyone listening certainly does. I know everyone's really excited about this game. It's like a genuinely very, very cool effort. So look out for the registration announcement. That's coming very soon. If you haven't, definitely join the SnailTrail Discord to be a part of the community, and also check out the mint details and how you might be able to participate, particularly if you're an Avalaunch user and community member. And we will definitely do this again soon.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward to hopefully doing this again with you sometime soon.
Right on. Firestorm.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You got it, man. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care.
See ya, man. Bye.